16 years old. Not one kid, two. Twin brothers from Esmeraldas, Ecuador who haven't kicked a ball in senior football yet, and Arsenal have already decided they're worth waiting 2 full years for. Edwin and Hulgar Quintero, a right winger and an attacking midfielder. Born on the same day, raised in the same academy, now tied to the same future in North London. They come from Independiente del Valle, the same talent factory that gave the world Moises Caicedo, Piero Hincapié, and Kendry Páez. Arsenal have moved earlier than Bayern, earlier than Sevilla, earlier than everyone else watching those youth tournaments in Uruguay and Ecuador, thinking the exact same thing. These two should not be this good at 15. Edwin, the winger some scouts compare to Neymar for the way he glides past defenders like they're not even there. Hulgar, the midfielder quietly being called one of the most intelligent 14 to 16-year-olds anyone's ever watched. Vision, timing, maturity beyond his years. Reports say they linked up for a goal in a semi-final against Internacional at the Albion tournament in Uruguay. Hulgar orchestrating from midfield, Edwin finishing from the right, not YouTube highlight numbers. Scout report numbers, the kind that make clubs move fast. Arsenal fans? They're split. Some are buzzing. This is how you stay ahead. 2 Ecuadorian wonder kids from IDV? Our scouting department is serious. Others? More cautious, more potential, more kids for 2027. It only matters if we actually turn them into first-team players. Because this isn't just a story about Arsenal winning a race for 2 talented teenagers. It's about what happens next. This could become one of the smartest youth moves the club has ever made. 2 brothers arriving together, pushing each other, feeding off each other's energy and ambition. Or it could become another cautionary tale, another pair of promising South American kids lost in the noise of European football, loaned out, forgotten, never quite making it. This is not just the story of twin prodigies with flashy highlights. This is the story of a double gamble, and how Edwin and Hulgar Quintero plan to make sure they're not just the next big thing, but the next big thing that actually arrives. Before Arsenal scouts sat in youth tournaments with their notebooks open, and long before Europe started whispering their names, Edwin and Hulgar Quintero were just 2 skinny boys from Esmeraldas, a province in Ecuador where football isn't a dream, it's a lifeline. Esmeraldas is different. It produces footballers the way some cities produce musicians, through rhythm, through struggle, through pride. The region breathes football, and that's where the twins first learned how to survive on a pitch long before they learned how to play on one. August 15th, 2009, Edwin and Hulgar Quintero are born. Same day, same hospital, same family, same dream. They grew up in a household where football shaped everything: their schedule, their friendships, their identity. 1 ball, 2 brothers, countless afternoons spent competing against each other on small concrete courts. When Independiente del Valle came calling in 2022, everything changed. IDV isn't a normal academy, it's a machine, the best youth development structure in South America. This is the club that shaped Caicedo, Kendry Páez, Hincapié, Gonzalo Plata. Their training isn't just about talent, it's about intelligence, understanding space, mastering transitions, learning how to survive pressure at a young age. The twins joined in 2022, and from the first week, coaches noticed something rare. They didn't play like 2 individuals. They played like one system. Hulgar receiving between the lines, Edwin stretching the pitch on the right, passing sequences that looked rehearsed yet were improvised, movements that mirrored each other without a single word exchanged. Coaches often say teamwork can be taught, chemistry cannot. The Quinteros arrived with chemistry already built into their DNA. The academy's internal data on both boys started raising eyebrows fast. Edwin, the right winger, pace and short distance bursts, elite for his age group. 1 versus 1 success rate in under 15 tournaments, 63%. Chance creation from wide areas, 2.4 key passes per 90 minutes. And at the Albion tournament in Uruguay, he scored in the semi-final against Internacional. South American scouts started making a comparison that seemed outrageous at first. Then you watched him play. Neymar-style rhythm, they said, but right-footed. Hulgar, the attacking midfielder. First touch efficiency, among the top 3 in IDV's under 15 group. Passing accuracy under pressure, 87%. Progressive touches per 90 minutes, double the academy average. In youth domestic competitions, he scored 25 goals in 42 matches across under 13 and under 15 levels. The tactical note from scouts? High risk, high reward playmaker with exceptional scanning ability. These aren't YouTube hype numbers. These are the numbers that make European clubs send scouts on 15-hour flights. February 2025, Albion Tournament, Uruguay, a competition where scouts sit closer to the pitch than the substitutes. Against Internacional, one of Brazil's powerhouse academies, the Twins delivered their first real announcement to the world. Both scored in the semi-final, Hulgar slicing through midfield, slipping passes between lines like a seasoned number 10. Edwin destroying his fullback, cutting inside, finishing like a winger twice his age. That was the moment the European radar lit up. Bayern Munich wanted one, Sevilla wanted the other, Arsenal wanted both. For a 15-year-old winger competing against players nearly 2 years older, that's exceptional. And while Edwin was shining internationally, Hulgar was dominating domestically. Different stages, same standard. Here's the key detail most people miss. Arsenal didn't discover the Twins last week. They've been tracking them for over a year. They watched IDV tapes, they compiled data, they studied personality reports, they learned who the Twins were beyond football, their humility, their work ethic, their bond. What convinced Arsenal wasn't just talent, it was maturity. Coaches at IDV consistently wrote the same line in their reports. The Twins respond to pressure like adults. Every great South American story begins before the world is watching, before the stadiums, before the headlines, before the spotlight. This chapter, the streets of Esmeraldas, the IDV classrooms, the youth tournaments in Uruguay, is where Edwin and Hulgar Quintero were forged. Two teenagers, one dream, and a journey that's only just beginning. Arsenal didn't just sign players, they signed a story still being written. Arsenal didn't stumble into the Quintero twins. They targeted them, tracked them, evaluated them, and when the time was right, they moved faster than Bayern Munich, faster than Sevilla, and faster than every Premier League club watching from a distance. This wasn't a gamble, it was a calculated interception, the kind modern football demands. When Arsenal's youth recruitment department began analyzing the Twins, something stood out immediately. They were ahead of their age curve in almost every metric. This wasn't normal, not for 15-year-olds, not for players who hadn't even broken into senior football yet. Edwin Quintero, the right winger, the numbers that shocked scouts: 2 goals in a competitive under-17 South American match against Bolivia, 63% success rate in 1-versus-1 dribbles across under 15 to under 17 samples, 2.4 key passes per 90 minutes in youth tournaments, 0.45 expected goals plus assists per 90, elite for a winger his age, 11 progressive sprints per match, and he both scored and assisted in the 2025 Albion Tournament semi-final against Internacional. Arsenal's internal analytics flagged Edwin with one of their highest winger potential grades in the 14 to 16 age range, similar to what they gave Miles Lewis-Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri at that age. Hulgar Quintero, the attacking midfielder, his numbers were even more striking: 87% passing accuracy under pressure, 5.8 ball recoveries per match, rare for an attacking midfielder, 25 goals in 42 youth domestic matches, 6 progressive passes per 90 minutes, outstanding scanner, 8 to 10 scans per minute during build-up phases, 0 errors leading to goals across recorded youth international competitions. Arsenal's data scientists labeled him high-risk, high-reward creator with elite scanning and dual-foot dribbling. Extremely rare profile. Hulgar's metrics match those of top European wonderkids like Pedri and Gavi at similar ages. Not in quality yet, but in style indicators and intelligence patterns. It's one thing to have data, it's another for scouts to agree. Arsenal's South American scouts attended the Albion Tournament and under-17 qualifiers. Their reports were unanimous. Edwin's scouting notes: acceleration is elite in the first 5 meters, loves 1-versus-1 moments, plays like a right-sided Neymar. End product needs polishing, but decision-making is ahead of his age. Aggressive presser, fits Arteta's intensity. Hulgar's scouting notes: exceptional awareness, always scanning, plays vertical football, would fit Arsenal's positional play. Premier League build-up suitability, extremely high. One of the most mature 14-year-olds we've seen. One South American scout wrote, he manipulates space like a 23-year-old playmaker. Not normal. Arsenal weren't alone. The Twins were becoming too visible too quickly. Bayern Munich sent representatives to IDV games in mid-2025. Sevilla inquired about price and timeline. Bayer Leverkusen showed analytical interest. An unnamed Premier League club registered strong interest in Edwin. And then came the big shift. At the Albion Tournament in February 2025, executives from Bayern Munich, Porto, and Sevilla were all present. The Twins scored and assisted in the semi-final. Bayern registered formal interest the same week. Arsenal knew the window was tight. One more tournament and the price doubles. 6 more months and competition becomes a war. They moved now, before the explosion. Independiente del Valle is the goldmine of South American talent. Moises Caicedo, Kendry Páez, Gonzalo Plata, Alan Minda, Piero Hincapié, Deiner Ordóñez, and now the Quintero twins. IDV players aren't just technically gifted, they're tactically trained. IDV invests more in youth analytics and tactical development than most most South American clubs combined. Arsenal knew this. Signing the twins isn't just signing players, it's building a pipeline, a strategic partnership with one of the best academies in the world. This is crucial. The twins chose Arsenal because of the pathway. Ethan Nwaneri, first team minutes at 16. Miles Lewis-Skelly, elite development and senior squad integration. Max Dowman, fast-track progression through the academy. Ben Cottrell, Charlie Patino, and others, proof of opportunity. Arsenal showed the twins not hype, but a plan. A mapped-out development route from IDV to London Colney to the Emirates. This is what convinced the family. The Quinteros didn't choose the biggest contract, they chose the clearest future. Inside the club, the classification is simple. Edwin, future attacking weapon. Hulgar, elite class playmaker potential. Their chemistry elevates both. Arsenal believe Hulgar has world-class upside. Edwin has elite Premier League winger ceilings, and their connection, built from birth, makes both better. This is why Arsenal accelerated the deal. Not because the twins are finished products, but because they're already showing traits that clubs usually see at 18, not 16. Arsenal didn't just sign two promising teenagers. They signed a future partnership, a connection built from birth. Two players whose strengths balance each other. Two profiles that fit Arteta's football perfectly. And they signed them before anyone else had the chance. This is why Arsenal moved early, and why they believe the Quintero twins could become one of their smartest long-term signings in years. This is where the story shifts from background to football, where the twins stop being a project and become two deeply different, yet perfectly complementary talents. Edwin, the winger built for chaos. Hulgar, the midfielder built for control. Same birthday, same academy, but two profiles that come alive in completely different ways. When Edwin plays, you can almost hear the rhythm of Esmeraldas in his movements. He's the twin who thrives in open space, who treats fullbacks like puzzles to be solved, who understands that sometimes the best tactic is simply to beat your man. His acceleration? It snaps defensive lines open. Not long strides, sharp bursts that leave defenders flat-footed. His first 3 steps are electric. By the time you've processed what he's doing, he's already gone. He's naturally creative as a wide threat. He loves taking defenders on, not because he wants to show off, but because it's the fastest route to danger. When he commits a fullback, he commits them fully. Forcing errors, drawing double teams, freeing his teammates. There's a directness Arsenal rarely find in youth profiles. Edwin doesn't circulate the ball for the sake of it. He carries it forward with purpose. He plays forward with intent. He wants to force the issue, and his mentality? Shaped by street football. Edwin plays like someone who believes he should decide games. He wants the ball under pressure. He doesn't hide. And at youth level, that confidence alone separates him from most wide players. Every flair winger has rough edges. Edwin's are clear and they're normal for his age. Decision making at full speed. His instincts are brilliant, but occasionally he holds the ball a touch too long, or takes the extra dribble when the pass is the smarter move. Defensive discipline. He presses with enthusiasm, but his tracking can be inconsistent. At senior level, losing your man for 5 seconds can kill a team. Upper body strength. Against older fullbacks, he sometimes struggles to protect the ball when they lean into him. That'll change with physical maturation. Crossing variety. He can whip a ball in, but Arsenal will want more. Cutbacks, low crosses, delayed deliveries, disguises with the weaker foot. Edwin is exciting, but excitement alone isn't enough to survive Europe. His next 2 years will determine whether he becomes a winger who dribbles beautifully or a winger who decides matches. Hulgar is the twin who controls temperature. When he's on the ball, chaos slows, angles open, structure appears. Unlike Edwin, whose gifts explode, Hulgar's gifts breathe. He's the type of midfielder that academies dream of producing but almost never do. Spatial intelligence far beyond his age. He scans constantly, before receiving, after passing, even off the ball. He reads pockets of space the way elite creators do. Balance and agility that allow him to slip past pressure. He doesn't bulldoze through opponents, he glides. One hip swivel, one step across, and suddenly 2 markers lose their timing. Clean, economical technique. Passes arrive with the right weight. First touches pull the ball into safety. He keeps tempo without overcomplicating. He's a dual threat creator. He can thread vertical passes or combine with short touches. He can retain or accelerate. He doesn't rely on one type of creation. He adapts to what the game gives him. And then there's the natural chemistry with Edwin. Their link up is instinctive. Hulgar finds lanes Edwin naturally attacks. It's rare, and Arsenal understand how valuable that can be. Hulgar is gifted, but gifts don't erase the challenges that await. Physical development is still catching up. At youth level, intelligence can compensate for lack of physicality. mentality. In senior football, midfield is a battlefield. He'll need muscle, stamina, the ability to absorb contact, high-risk tendencies. His courage is a strength, but occasionally he forces vertical passes that aren't on. Academy coaches love bravery. Premier League coaches punish turnovers. Long-range finishing. He can score from close range, but his shooting technique from distance fluctuates. Sometimes smooth, sometimes rushed, dribbling into traffic. Because he's so confident, he sometimes tries to play out of impossible pressure, something the Premier League punishes instantly. Hulgar has world-class potential, but potential becomes reality only through discipline and adaptation. Some twins share features. These twins share instincts. When Hulgar receives, Edwin is already on the move. When Edwin isolates a fullback, Hulgar shifts to offer triangles. When Hulgar drops deep, Edwin stretches the pitch. This dynamic is what clubs noticed. You're not signing two players, you're signing a link. Some academies develop partnerships. The Quinteros were born into one. Arsenal are building a team defined by technical security, vertical play, intelligent movement, youth integration, positional play with freedom in the final third. Hulgar fits the blueprint of a modern number 8 or advanced midfielder in a system like Arteta's. Tempo, control, risk when the moment is right. Edwin fits the blueprint of a modern wide creator. Explosive, brave, expressive, dangerous. They're not solutions today. They're ingredients for tomorrow. They're not finished products. They're not guaranteed stars. They're not coming to London to replace anyone. They're prospects. But prospects with traits you cannot teach. Rhythm, instinct, courage, chemistry, identity. These qualities decide careers. And Arsenal believe that if the Quintero twins follow the right path, physically, tactically, mentally, they could grow into two of the most exciting Ecuadorian players of their generation. In the end, Arsenal didn't just secure two teenagers. They secured a future possibility. Two players shaped by the same home, the same academy, and the same ambition, now connected to a club building for the long term. Edwin brings electricity. Hulgar brings intelligence. Together, they bring a story just beginning. What they become from here won't depend on hype, but on work, on development, on the choices they make between now and 2027. For now, Arsenal have simply placed a quiet bet on potential, and the rest of the football world will be watching to see how the twins grow into the promise their talent suggests.